Hello, welcome to this episode on how to build a photo album using Rails. We'll be using RESTful way of creating albums and photos and slideshow. So this is going to be fun. So let's get started. I've already created a project called Album, and we will be using two plugins. One is the attachment foo. Another one is the Lightbox helper. I'll go ahead and install the attachment foo. Lightbox helper makes it a little bit easier to just use helper method provided by this plugin so that we can use it for the slideshow. English is very bad. Okay. This helper actually requires the images JavaScripts from this Lightbox too, which is basically a bunch of images, CSS, JavaScript that gives you a pop-up effect with next, back, close buttons, a nice effect of displaying photo album. You can go to this site huddletogether.com projects Lightbox 2 and download this and copy the images that you find in this download to your public images folder, and copy the lightbox.css to the style sheets folder and lightbox.js to the javascripts folder. It also requires the scriptaculous.js, builder.js, and so on. You can see this on this site, or also on the readme it's included. Anyway, I'll include all the files required for this album project, part of the download, so you can play with it. Then you'll also have all the images and JavaScripts required to work on this. Okay, now let's create some models. Let's start with an album model. And this album will have just name, which is of type string. And then the photos will have more than just name. All the attachment foo related fields for file upload will be included here. We'll manually just add them in the migration file. Now we have two models, and let's create albums controller. And we can also create a photos controller. Actually, before I got started on this project, I just used a whiteboard and sketched out the operations required, how it's going to fit in the REST scenario. It really helps to just get away and just kind of work through the problem and see how you want the screens to look like, how we want the RESTful design, it's going to everything is going to fit together. So it really helped me to create this, because I went through two other um, photo albums available, which is Rails 2.0 compliant apps. Top Funky that doesn't work on Rails 2.0 is Gallery, and Web Album by someone in Villafranca had gone through it, but it had too much baggage, too much of things which can be abstracted in a plugin like attachment foo. So I'm using it to just simplify the application code by using attachment foo and just delegating all the photo related processing to it, since it can do resizing and all that. Okay, let's now create a layout, application HTML layout. Okay, have style sheet link tags, have style.css, and I'm also including lightbox.css. Defaults is always included, and you also need to specifically include the scriptaculars and need to make sure the scriptaculars.js is in the public JavaScripts directory. So that's what we will do now. I'm going to copy the required style sheets now. So we have lightbox.css. When I install the lightbox helper, it just seems to have copied over here. But we still need the style.css, where I have defined thumbnail and section for the display of thumbnails. Okay, we're done with the style sheets, and let's see the JavaScripts folder. Okay, now there's some work to be done. JavaScripts folder. I want to copy the JavaScripts required to get this working. So we have right now application.js, controls, drag and drop, lightbox.js was copied over by the lightbox helper plugin. Now we also need this builder, I believe. So I'm going to copy the builder.js, and also we need scriptaculars.js. So we have how many JavaScripts? We need like 8. Okay, we have all of the JavaScripts. Let's go to the images. Images. I think we have everything is required. The next, previous, close button, and all those stuff. And let's now go to the controllers, and the albums controller. I'll just copy over the things required and explain as I go through. Okay, we have a RESTful actions, index, new, show, edit, create, update, the usual thing, destroy. Very RESTful. Index will loop through all the albums and display all the albums. News just creates an instance of album. Show, you just find an album. And the photo, since we have album and photo related to each other, we need to set up the association also. So that we will do now. Let's go to models, album. Album has many photos. The dependent will just destroy. There will be no orphan records in the database. If the parent is destroyed, the child will be destroyed. And let's go to photo. Photo belongs to album. And we will throw in the has attachment and the validates attachment declaration that's required for attachment full. The content type is image. I have actually gone through these options and what they do in one of the screencasts where I explain how to upload images using attachment full. So I'm not going to go over this thing again. And you can watch that if you're more interested in learning more about that. So let's go back to albums controller. Edit is just find that particular album to edit, nothing really different. And then create, you can just create an album. It's regular, create and save. Forward to the albums URL, which is the index page. And then regular thing of update, nothing really different. Update attributes, take the params album and updates it. Destroy, just destroys it. It's a very typical RESTful controller. Let's go to photos controller, and in the photos controller we need two actions, create and destroy. Create is if we first find the parent. Params has, since it's nested resource, we will define the routes first and then come to this controller and I'll explain more. Let's nuke this. Albums has many photos. This is same as doing map.resources albums and then do albums.resources photos. But this seems to be much more clean and concise. I'll use this declaration. Let's go back to the photos controller. So we find the parent model, which is the album, using this album ID, and then we create a new photo, and then we save photo, and then album.photos, we just push it into the album photos collection. And then destroy, we find that particular album and we scope it in for that particular album and we do a find on it. We find that particular photo belonging to that album and then we destroy that photo and redirect to albums URL. That's it. So you have create, destroy actions are all CRUD actions, typical of a RESTful application. Albums are controllers are set up. Album, we have association set up, and let's go to migrations and see if everything is set up. Okay, albums is fine, but we need the add in the fields required for image upload. These are the fields that's required for the attachment full. So we have albums and we have photos table also. So we have image upload related fields. So these are the parent ID, size, width, height or of integer, content type, file name, thumbnail. And then we need to set up the album foreign key for the photos table. Since the photos belong to album, we have the foreign key here. Okay, so we have the migration set up, and now let's go to the views and create the views required. Let's first begin with index.html erb. Listing albums, it has name, and we loop through the albums and we display the album and we say, okay, here is the edit and destroy. Each row will have edit and destroy link for that album, so you can edit or destroy that album. And let's go to new. album will have a name, and we just create an album with a name. That's it. It's very simple. And if you want to show album, this will be quite involved. And each album will have some photos to it, we'll say upload a new photo to this album. Roll out some instructions for users to get the hang of how to use the slideshow. And then album.photos, we are looping through each photos. We're using the lightbox image tag. This will group the photos. So it will say 1 out of 8, and then it will have the name of the photo in the top, at the bottom of the slideshow. When it pops up, the slideshow will have close button, so you'll see in action soon. And here, the same albums show method, I have a form for uploading photo to that particular album. And this is the form for photo, this is the URL, and multi-part true since it has an attachment. This is how we need to set up. This will go back to index action. You can do rec routes and see how he can actually route to the forms photos new and create action. We'll go to photos controller, create. Okay, this create is where it will be routed, and we will upload the photo to the file system. Right now I'm using file system. You can change it to S3 or any other format that you choose. We have index, new, show, and we will add one more, which is the edit. You can actually refactor this edit and new. Since it's using the same thing, you can render partial, make it as a partial, and pass this as the locals. Okay, so we have a form for album, and the name can be edited. Okay, now album views are done, and photos does not have any views since we are actually having a form for that particular photos. Users can upload when they are viewing a certain photo. Let's now create the table. Here we have created the tables required. Now let's see if we can upload some pictures and have a slideshow. So let's create a new album. Album slash new. So let's say test album. Create the album. Here is the test album. Undefined method title for photo. Think we have name called title. Just do a rect db migrate reset. So that will nuke the old ones. Let's create a new album. New. let's create a test album. Create this album. Let's go to the test album. Let me pick some pictures here. Okay, the picture has to be less than 500 KB. That's how I have specified the limit in the model. You can change it if you like. And it's going to be uploaded. It was uploaded successfully. Let's create some more. Let's create something. Let's see if this will go. Okay. Okay, we have DHH also. Let's see if we can display. Okay, there it is. Voila. My home office. And here is DHH. So you can see image 2 of 2, image 1 of 1. All those things actually is coming because you group them together. Close this button. Okay. So we have a nice photo album that can be uploaded, but the problem with Rails is if you're many users are uploading the photos at the same time, it'll each photo upload will tie up one module process. For that, you can use MERB in combination with Rails. You can have MERB and Rails share the sessions, and MERB will actually take care of the upload process. And I found it in one of the blog posts, and it's a good idea to do either use MERB or some other mechanism where you can just offload that entire process to the background using a background DRV or some other kind of worker. So let's see. These things are actually slider.js, and one more thing, it always keeps looking for this too and throws exception if it doesn't find it, since we don't have those things because photo album doesn't require it. So what else is in the source we can learn from? So we have show action. This is the upload form. We are uploading the image, photos controller. We are creating this, we are saving. It's all straightforward. And if you run into issues with the lightbox.js, okay, I ran into an issue where the downloaded version did not have these things, these forward slash, and when you actually go here, the close image is missing. This was also another problem with others. Others also had problems. They had their own hacks, but the actual simpler solution to this problem is to have this forward slash. You can look at the generator DOM and see how it's generating the URL, debug it, and fix it. But this is a quick way to fix the issue if you're running into that issue. So that's it for the screencast, and I'll enclose this photo album thing as part of the download, so you can either integrate with MERB or have a background or task which will offload this upload process to a separate thing. So if you enjoyed it, please recommend me on working with Rails. Thank you.